Hey, what is going on? I'm Corey and I run a five-figure AI automation business. And today we are going to talk about automating your onboarding so it moves faster than your clients can even blink. So if it sounds like something you're interested in, stay tuned and let's jump straight into this. So like I spoke about, onboarding is a huge issue amongst nearly everyone that I've spoken to in terms of clients, right? There's often this manual process that needs to happen. There's sending of contracts. And then once the contract's signed, then what we'll need to do is we'll then need to add them to the CRM, send them an email, go through this very monotonous steps to actually get this. And what this is essentially onboarding lag. So the moment a deal closes, your momentum should be just going up and up and up, right? And really, we can look at it as happiness over here. So client happiness like this, and then time is a great way to look at it. So we should be building this momentum. The moment they sign, it should be instantly a onboarding email. They should start receiving some sort of value pretty quickly, especially if you can give them a very huge piece of value within the 48 hours. It creates this huge up curve. So without doing it, it sort of sits like this. But if you add let's say a piece of valuable um, of your service, even something like an ebook, or you move really fast and be like, hey, here's this quick one maybe picture you're selling them. If you're like a marketing agency or an ad, hey, just going through this, or let me sort out your ICP, your customer profile. Let me just do this quick automation. And what happens is it sort of peaks like this, and then they go, okay, and it just goes up and up and up. It also onboarding lag is a huge contribution to the teams being unsure what to do. So we'll sign a client, who does what next, what's the next step for my admin person, when do they hand it over, when does it come back to me, when do I, as the owner, release all the information. Because of this, projects get delayed before they even start. So in a streamlined world, obviously, at the moment, the second that task A is done, it instantly goes into the second task, right? And the lag period between here is very minimal. But what actually is happening is when task A is done, there's a lag, and then number two is starting, right? So you can see if this size is, let's say, 1 minute, this is a 15-minute delay here. Now, if this goes in terms of days, which a lot of onboarding it does, this is a whole day. This is 15 days delay just for this process from 1 to 2 here. So it can cause a huge, huge delay in this lag period, I guess. And often manual task creation is the cause of this. So from here to here, they'll need to do maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 activities. None of it would be automated. It'd be completely handled by a assistant, a team member. But the point is, to get here, these need to be completed, where if we automate it, it reduces it down to here. So what can this look like? What can a automated, real flowing, higher end automation look like? Well, the moment a client signs, instantly, and if we're using like a signing document like DocuSign, PandaDoc, the moment it signs, it's flagged. A project folder is created in some sort of drive, Google Drive or something, and then a ClickUp task or a CRM or a project management task is created and assigned for this client. From there, the strategist slash worker, the next person in the line that is completing this point right here, 4.2, will be assigned to the task. Whilst this is happening, the client will receive a kickoff link instantly. So straight away, a book straight into the calendar for something. If you're a tradie or like construction, this might be a form of like a confirmation, but it happens pretty close to instantly. On top of that, a Slack will then ping to your team and it will say, hey, we got a new client. So we can see all of this, if we run an automation, would take 1 minute, absolute maximum. We'd want to introduce a delay of about a minute between the email here and when the client signs, just so it looks genuine, like someone actually read it. I wrote it. English is bad. But speed of execution builds client confidence. And this, when we have a system that flows like that, that's where we get this red line here. The satisfaction goes up. I mean, this might be the project was created and they might have received like the link here, for example. And then maybe we've got first form of communication here and it just keeps going up. Where with this delay that we spoke about here, it would look like this, and maybe they get a communication here, here, and possibly here. So you have a big gap between it. So how can we build this very, very simple flow, this just to execute it real fast? Well, the start, and this doesn't apply just to the onboarding, but this start can start anywhere really. So we can go from a payment is confirmed is there's generally a contractual agreement, payment. There's one of those two things that trigger an onboarding flow. Most often it's payment, and in that we can actually identify and capture this information. So once the payment or the contract is signed, then it will go through and we'll have a project path that will be laid out. So this is for custom builds for clients. If you're running another automation agency, or if you're running a marketing agency, or some sort of digital agency, this would be the route that you would take. So Google Drive will be automatically created. A project management board will be built from a template. So it will trigger, you have a whole bunch of templates here, depending what it is. And when we get the payment confirmation, it might say, okay, this one is the board. This might be the template section here, and this might be the active projects. And it will pick which one's needed and put it into this place. From there, it will then assign and put the deadlines in. Now, the deadlines can be set based on factors. So it can be what was put in the contract, if there's terms and conditions. So within 30 days, this is the deliverables. This can all be extracted, granted using like a digital signing contract. And then we can obviously assign who is needed for that. This can also range with different people as well. So perhaps you don't need the admin person, perhaps you need the strategist, or perhaps it's a certain person or sales rep, or a customer service rep. There could be multiple people that are assigned, and the conditions can be based on which one of these we choose. So this one might be a let's just say a project manager. Maybe this one here might be the receptionist or an assistant receptionist. And then maybe this one here is a strategist. So all of this can be completely automated, and the board that you put in your project management can be created based on this. From there, obviously, we want a Slack channel. We want everyone to know that we have a new client. That is great news. It should be celebrated across the whole team. It shouldn't just be a silent, oh, it appears in the project management, we got a new client. We should be embracing that team culture and really lifting it up, getting everyone excited for it. Emails are then sent to the team with the SOPs. So depending on the task that needs to be done, hey, this task is done. Can you make sure you add this, for example? These can be put into the CRM as well. So in this line, maybe we have SOPs over here, which is how we do it at Blacklight. So the project is created and then it will extract the SOPs are all attached for the task in here, and they're all different. And this will go in the same line item. If you're using Monday or ClickUp, it'll go in the same line as that task. And then the client will then get an email doing their kickoff or their introduction onboarding email with the link. So route 2 is the same one. I just realized. This can also work with a productized project path as well. So if you have a product that you're selling, now you may not have all of this stuff that's really needed in here, so we can scrap them all, but we can still tag the client in a CRM. We can still see what they've brought, what they've purchased, whether you're selling like ebooks, whether you're selling Amazon, eBay, or whether you have just some custom Shopify product. It can still be tagged into your CRM, and an internal tracker can be lodged. So maybe we have certain products in the same sense that we had this one, and they can go into the spreadsheet or the CRM, and maybe this one's purchased. And then that can be added in the line item, and perhaps this has a delivery day of 15:30. This is especially if you're doing like drop shipping. Some of these can be delayed different times depending on the supplier. And these can all be added with the purchase line in the CRM. On top of that, confirmation email will be sent whenever you think about purchasing products online now. No matter what it is, you always expect a confirmation email. Even now, it's sort of standard to receive your receipts via email. Well, it is in Australia. So you'd want to trigger the confirmation email straight away. And then you'd want a completely how you do it. But if you're running sort of a higher ticket ones, you could create a task in your CRM. And this could be like follow-ups or additional service, maybe add them to a newsletter or a post-purchase stream, but completely optional. Some don't need this, some do. But we can still see this, even though it's a product, it's still an onboarding. We're still onboarding clients technically. Now, if you want to get fancy, these by all means are not fancy tools, but it's just saying if you want to go above and beyond what we've just spoken about, we can start adding Airtable, Google Sheets, Notion logs. We just add a whole nother source of truth in addition to our CRM. The benefits is just a multi-system oversight. And obviously when we start doing automations, running automations from an Airtable is a hell of a lot easier than ClickUp. And also we ensure that we're pulling data from an Airtable rather than the ClickUp. And if something happens to ClickUp, we have a backup on Airtable or Notion. We can also implement SMSs, phone calling as well. So productize could work if you're selling a very high end, such as cars. Implementing a AI phone caller to actually call these customers and saying, "Hey, thanks for the purchase. This is Greg at what's a famous car brand? Let's say Toyota. Thanks for the purchase. Just checking in, making sure everything's fine." Or we can send an SMS. "Hey, your car. I've thrown in 10 years of free service." It's not going to happen, but we can implement these additional steps to the onboarding process. We can also implement KPI dashboards for the onboarding time. So how long does it take to complete this whole thing? Now, if we automate it, it's not a super big issue because we know it's going to be done on time. But there may be bottlenecks if you automate maybe just one or two parts. So for example, maybe we're not automating all of this, but maybe we're just going from when the contract is signed and then adding it to the CRM. So we could just implement this one for now and then measure via KPIs and the dashboard how much that actually took off, how much extra time that single one did. we can do a call schedule with a form pre-fill. So people who fill a form in, it works great for automation industries, is when they fill in a form, whether it's a pre-fill, or whether they're actually just filling in the form. I'll come back to the pre-fill in a second. Begin AI caller to actually call them after they fill in the form in. Now imagine you are talking to an automation agency and they're selling AI phone callers, and you lodge a form to say, hey, I want a demo on this phone caller. And then a minute later, it calls you and says, hey, you want a demo? Here I am. I'm talking to you right now. So this is probably one of the fancy ones off this list, but these can be implemented to really enhance that onboarding process. And then obviously we can do pre-form, pre-filling as well, um, based on the information they've given us prior to the onboarding. So lodging the form for a sales call, for example. So why it works, the system feels like magic, and not even just in your eyes, in the client's eyes as well. So for example, like when we do our type forms for Blacklight, our sales calls, we fill in the type form on the spot. And then the moment we finish up with a client, we can click save and it will generate the contract on the back end for us as a draft. And then we go through and we edit it. But this gives us the ability we could even send it in the meeting if we wanted to. So could you imagine you're having a meeting or a sales call with someone, and then you are talking, and then you say, okay, let me just send over the proposal right now. And what they get is a customized proposal of everything you spoke about for the last 15 minutes, 10 pages, it's done, written, all while you're still on the phone. And if you're using something like PandaDoc, then you can actually implement the payment there and say, okay, I've sent you the document, you're happy with this, they can have a quick read, yep, okay, sign it, pay it, and do it all while on the call. This stuff feels like magic. So the onboarding one is no exception. The moment they sign this contract here, within 1 minute, they've got an onboarding email, and then maybe they've got some sort of value that you've given them. And then maybe they get another email 5 minutes later, 5-min assignment, and they get an email from the person assigned to their case. So you could see the moment they sign and pay, 1 minute later, their phone pings, oh, an onboarding call, an onboarding email. Let me read it. Okay, that's cool. A few minutes later, they get another email. Hey, I'm Jessica. I'm your sales representative. Reach out to me. And then maybe in that time, or maybe an hour after, they get an email and just say, hey, I just thought of you. I got this free piece of content. This works great for your style of business. I thought I would give this to you for free. And all of this just happening on autopilot. The owner, we go back to that chart before up there, where this is happiness here and time. Just then you've exploded with a huge, straight out the gate. Really, it's like this. It's not even this far down the timeline. It's within the first 5 minutes, they've gotten all of this stuff. So on top of this, feeling like magic, we have zero bottlenecks. Everything flows. We know what does what, who does who. There's no where do I start confusion. It's reusable. It's scalable. We can increase this, immensely. We can just keep going up and up, and no matter what, because it's all on automation, it will never break. There's none of this time delay that may occur. Like maybe it's like this for the first 15 clients, but then perhaps as we get to 30 clients, there is this lag. So it's a small lag to start, but it builds up as we get more clients. Where if we implement a system to clear this onboarding lag, this could be like this for infinity, back down to our happy face. And it also makes your agency feel elite. There's nothing quite like showing, the professionalism of doing this, especially in a society now where everyone is always suspicious of activities. There's a lot of scamming. There's a lot of just bad people out there. So if you can actually, and not bad people as in like just scammers, like bad businesses, bad customer service. So if we can do something simple as an onboarding flow that's streamlined, it really does make your agency feel elite compared to the others. It puts you, top 5 instantly just from this one simple flow. So I'll leave you with a self quote with this. Automation doesn't replace people; it frees them, and the automation should never be something to, okay, let's go for onboarding. If I put in all this onboarding flow, I shouldn't then turn around and say, okay, I don't need a receptionist or an assistant, because it's not the case. It should just free their time up so then you can allocate that resource somewhere else. And that is really the point of automation. We may get this onboarding flow done, and now we can take our personal assistant off onboarding emails and then put them more on resource tracking, strategic documents, watching other staff members, helping with the handoff between the owner and the staff members, not in terms of the onboarding, but in terms of like sales calls, transcripts, requests from both parties. And that's really the purpose of the automation, is to just free one resource so you can move that resource to a higher impact job, because putting your virtual assistant or your assistant in that position, the ROI is far, far higher than having them doing automation rather than doing onboarding. Words are hard today. So we want to make sure our resource management is moving over them. We're not removing resources just because of automation. So we've built this, and this isn't all theory. We build these every week. We built one last week. We're building one now. And we know it works. So what I want you to take away from this is an onboarding, even though it's so simple, no matter what your onboarding is, it can be automated, and it will have one of the highest ROI impacts out of every activity between the moment you sign to the moment the contract ends and the client leaves. The onboarding can make and set the scene really for the remainder of the contract. So if you have any questions about any of this, let me know. Put them in the comments, send me an email. My email address is in the description. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow, and please like and subscribe.